Hi, what is going on, everybody? It is Sean the Saiyan here with another video. I want to talk about the Europe finals, but also Nats is this weekend. There is a lot going on in the One Piece TCG currently. So there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot I'm super excited about. But yeah, if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. I've got plenty more One Piece content coming. But yeah, the One Piece game, One Piece TCG is just thriving as always in the new year, and there's just a lot happening. The start of next month, pretty close, will be only like a month away from OPO 6, which is crazy to think because I feel like OPO 5 just started really. And then we have the new starter deck coming out. We have starter deck 11, which is the Uta starter deck, coming out February 2nd, so early February, and there's going to be events for that as well. So there's a lot to be excited for, and I'm super excited for those events. And of course, there's Nats this weekend, which is just everybody's kind of talking about it, their predictions, who they think is going to come on top. I think the main two leaders that people have been saying is either Sakazuki or Enel, because those are the two that have seen the most success. I mean, we just had the Europe finals, which I'm going to talk about. A lot of people think that Enel might come on top, or because people are playing Enel more, is because it's just easier to pilot. Sakazuki is a really, really strong deck. It is a very strong deck, but it's also very hard to pilot sometimes. With this deck in particular being a control deck, it could fall apart just very easily. But with Enel, I feel like you have a lot more second chances. There's a lot of ways that you can recover from making a mistake or anything like that. And I think that's why, but also it's just stalling games and stuff like that. And, yellow's yellow. There's a lot of yellow hate right now because of triggers off of life, being able to get a Sanji or a Brule and just stick around for another turn, which could potentially have them win the game. So I think that's why there's a lot of hate for yellow right now. Me personally, I don't hate yellow. There's definitely some things that can be frustrating about, but it is what it is. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the Europe finals, which I did get to watch the last couple of matches Sunday. I didn't watch it live, I just watched the last few, and it was super fun. I haven't watched a lot of very competitive events for One Piece quite yet, but that was like the first one, and it was super fun to watch. Of course, mirror matches, Sakazuki, and we have the winners here. We have Fabian and Horie, who I think they were the final two, and Fabian came on top. But yeah, two really skilled Sakazuki players. And I will say, Sakazuki mirror matches, I actually think are a ton of fun. But they're also very important because, mirror matches, really with any deck, mirror matches are how you really start to figure out your strategies and how you progress as a player of that deck. And Sakazuki is no exception, so... But, me just being fairly new to Sakazuki because I just built it because for the most part I've been running Purple Luffy. And, it's super fun. It's not as consistent, but I just really enjoy the playstyle, and I think it's high risk, high reward, and it's just fun, man. It's fun. But, I figured I'd give Sokka a try, and I've been having fun with it. But, yeah, I mean, watching them was just a blast, and, obviously they played their hearts out, and Fabian came on top. I believe what happened was Horie made a misplay on the last one, and he just ended up conceding. And so it's a little tragic, but, but yeah. So in the Europe finals, obviously Sakazuki is the biggest. Now, it's not quite as big as, when Whitebeard was at its prime. I remember Whitebeard took up almost, half of the meta. And we have this, of course, by one of the GOATs, Orange Samurai, who has provided with us because I believe he was in the Europe, so shout out to him for having this little chart. But yeah, it's not even half. The meta has changed quite a bit because a couple of sets back, majority of it was red. There was a ton of Whitebeard, there was a ton of Zoro, there was a ton of Law, but the meta has shifted so much in OPO5. And I think for the most part, most of the community likes it, but a lot of people are just sick of Sakazuki and are claiming that it's just too broken. There needs to be a fix for it. So, and what's interesting is one of Heart Pirates TCG, who I've talked about on my channel, he just recently put out a video explaining why he thinks Sakazuki is good for the meta, and kind of comparing it to Whitebeard and saying that Whitebeard was not good for the meta, that Whitebeard was broken, and that Sakazuki is not broken because of how fragile the deck is and how you have to be, on your game when you're piloting it, and there's a lot of ways that you can fall back and kind of crumble. So, and I think for the most part he is right. I think that this for the meta isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's a lot of Sakazuki, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as bad as when Whitebeard was in its prime. And now we have, there's some purple, there's still red, people are still going to rock red. It's not as strong as it was, but of course there's yellow, and there's a bunch of stuff, man. There's like red, purple Luffy, there's red, purple Law, which I love seeing that because I love that deck. And it looks like there's Bello Betty and a little bit of Nami, and I can't really tell what that is right there, but this just shows you the meta has changed a lot, in maybe the most in OPO5 besides like OPO2 when Whitebeard was introduced. But yeah, it's just crazy that, there's still a little bit of Zoro and there's a ton of purple Luffy. So it's just, because back in like OPO1 and OPO2, purple was not really that viable, neither was blue. We had the Kaido starter deck and the Croc starter deck, and they just didn't have a ton of support. Really, green was still decent. Green was it was good, but it wasn't quite as consistent as red. And of course we got Katakuri over there, which is still super strong. I mean, it was still good in OPO4. It got more support with the Sanji blocker and some of the 6-cost 8k vanillas. And now we have like the 200 volts, and we have a couple of other things. So yeah, I think that Katakuri is just going to always be good. And I think that, even though a lot of people don't like yellow, I think yellow is a really good deck to start with because it's just super, Katakuri is just such an easy deck to run. And it is fun, but it's one of those decks where I think once you get more experience into the game, you kind of start to move away from it and kind of want to challenge yourself, maybe make like a kid deck, or maybe want to play something a little bit more different like Zoro. I don't know. But this is pretty much the finals for Europe. And yeah, I mean, Bello Betty, Luffy, Zoro, Enel, Law, which, red purple Law might be one of my favorite decks right now. But I mean, it has a horrible matchup against Enel. It just has a horrible matchup against yellow. It's possible, but the win rate for it is not as good. And I have a little chart right here that I'll pull up here in just a second once we're done talking. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents about Europe, and just, just kind of, we're looking at these competitive events as time goes on just to see how the game has changed, how the game has progressed, and if it's progressed in a good way or a bad way. And I think right now, for the most part, this is pretty nice. I think it's better than how it was a couple of sets ago. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Sakazuki is as good in OPO6, with Moria and some other leaders. But I think Moria is kind of like the prime. That's what people are kind of like expecting to be the next like hot deck. That's going to be like the next big deck is Moria, which is mono black, which is super cool. I'm really excited for green yellow Yamato. That's like the deck that I'm probably going to run just for fun, man. Exactly. It's like purple Luffy. Like, obviously we play these card games to have fun. Now, you want to do well. Winning is also super fun, but at the same time, it's like, you want to have fun. So that's kind of my philosophy. I do want to win. I wanted to go to all these competitive events and, do well. I mean, you're traveling out there and spending all this money, but at the same time, like, having fun is just as important to me as, winning. So just keep that mindset and try not to be too hard on yourself, which, I mean, I struggle with a lot, but I think that's just one thing that like us as players, as TCG players, need to kind of realize sometimes. But yeah, but that's just kind of my 2 cents on Europe. I think that it was super fun. And I think that, if you want to get into the One Piece TCG competitively, I think watching these events is super important. I think that you should definitely watch them, because not only is it going to make you a better player, you're just going to be more knowledgeable about the meta in general in the game. So you'll be able to talk with other players about it, and also just come up with some ideas to add to your deck that maybe one of these players has known. Like I know Sheep's Horn was like a really, really good thing for Purple Luffy because somebody, I think in one of the Eggman tournaments, got second with it, and they had ran Sheep's Horn, and Sheep's Horn's great. Sheep's Horn's great, man. Like being able to rest a blocker and just swing for game, like it's great. So just stuff like that. And I think if you want to get better at anything, you know, watching yourself play, but also watching other people play and saying, wow, I never thought of that. So, but yeah, that's just kind of my 2 cents. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to watching Nats this weekend and also just other events. So yeah, I kind of just wanted to bring this up. I saw this on Reddit, and I thought this was really cool. And it's basically like a matchup like chart between decks. Like this, like Law's percentage against Enel is absolutely pitiful, but I think this is really cool, and I saved it because I thought it was useful to anybody who would want to see it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about Nats for a second, you know, kind of what my thoughts are, what are predictions, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think is going to take Nats. Just kind of want to go through the matchups because I feel like these are going to, obviously this is super important for just the game, but also just for this event coming up. But yeah, I mean, Sakazuki is probably the most consistent deck in the meta right now. And I think anybody who knows who's going to Nats, majority of them are probably going to take Sakazuki just because they've had time. We've been in OPO5 for a little over, I want to say, yeah, no, definitely over a month now. So we've had time to experiment and add stuff to it and figure out what the most consistent like ratios are for this deck. Like, you know, a lot of people have started putting Mihawk in, a lot of people have started putting Sanji's Pilaf in just to get better draw, and so that they can draw those Great Eruptions or they can draw those Hound Blazes, you know, because Hound Blaze is, I mean, if you see 2 or 3 Hound Blazes at the beginning of the game, it's more than likely it's GG and you probably got it for a lot of decks, even the mirror matches. So, but yeah. And then as far as Enel goes, it's a deck that I think a lot of people have been surprised by. I think that, you know, when it was the first deck to win any tournament, like the tournament in LA. So it's been doing really well, but it has luck on its side for sure. Like this deck has luck. And, you know, you have decks like Law that really struggle against Enel with the win percentage and all that. So like right here, it has a 25% win rate, which is kind of pretty bad. You know, especially even if you play it differently, because, you know, with Law, you want to, for the most part, use leader ability as much as you can to out-tempo your opponent. But yeah, with Enel, it's unfortunate because they can just stall the game out, and then eventually you're going to burn yourself of resources. So it's a little unfortunate, but yeah. And right here it has a 75% win rate against it, so. But also Whitebeard. Whitebeard is also not really the best matchup for Law, because they just get so much card draw, and starting out at 6 life and having 6k, it's also just it's a little rough for sure. And then probably the worst matchup, Zoro has a absolute horrible matchup against Enel. It has a 15.7%, which is, yeah, it's pretty bad. So yeah, Zoro players do be like, it's awesome to see that it's out there, but like it was in the like it's still in, but I mean, yeah, it's I don't know if it's necessarily an auto loss, but it's pretty damn close. So it's a little unfortunate, but you know. And then it looks like Purple Luffy into Enel is, I mean, Purple Luffy is probably the best, like probably the most consistent and most meta purple deck right now. So against Enel, it's not bad. It's got like a 46.4%, so it's not bad. I think that, you know, a lot of people, you know, it can, depending on what you see. I know with Purple Luffy and Sakazuki, like Sakazuki's definitely favored, but I mean, if you play Magellan like consistently and you steal them of going second, then you still have a shot. I wouldn't say it's quite as bad as like Zoro or Law into Enel. So And then we have red purple Luffy, which is one of the other. Like, me personally, I'm not too crazy about this deck. I just think that if I was gonna run a deck like this, I'd rather just run mono purple Luffy, just because it's more consistent and it's just, I don't know, I just like how it plays better. But you know, red purple Luffy, when it pops off, it pops off. So, and it has a lot of cool stuff in it, like the 10 cost Gear 5 Luffy is pretty sweet. But yeah, I just overall, like, if I'm wanting to take it to locals or take it to a competitive event, I'm more than likely just gonna run the mono purple Luffy. But you know, if you're running red purple Luffy, shout out, you know, shouts to you, props to you. I'm not trying to demeanor that deck at all. I think it's cool. It's just, personally, it's just not for me. And then it looks like Katakuri against Enel has a 49.8%, so it's pretty even. It's pretty even. And then, you know, obviously mirror matches like Enel and Enel, it's more than likely just going to be 50. But Katakuri against Enel is pretty dang close to it. It's 49.8. But I think with Katakuri, I think that, you know, there's a lot of weaknesses. Like, the main strategy if you want to beat Katakuri is you just gotta go wide and just swing for face every single turn. So, and it, you know, it's pretty much just stalling out until the 10 cost Big Mom comes out. Where with Enel, there's you know, there's the Yamato, there's the 7 cost. I feel like Enel has a little bit more to it than Katakuri because it runs more than just like the Big Mom package. So I think that's what Enel has a little bit of an edge over Katakuri. And of course, we still got Whitebeard in here, which this is interesting. It looks like against Sakazuki, it does pretty well. And against Enel, it's pretty even. Against Katakuri, it's got a little bit of an advantage. I think Whitebeard's got a little bit of an advantage over red purple Luffy. And it's got quite the advantage over red purple Luffy. But let's see what else. I mean, really, the only really bad matchups seem to be against Enel, like Law and Zoro and even red purple Luffy. It seems like Enel just has quite the advantage over a lot of decks, and I think that's another reason why. In my instance, I wouldn't be surprised if it got first. Now, it'd be awesome to see like mono purple Luffy like win it. That would be awesome. I just think that'd be really cool because, you know, or maybe even Katakuri. It's been around for a while, so does it deserve to have a win? Yeah, kind of. But, you know, whatever wins, it wins. It's not really going to change much for me what I'm going to play. I'm kind of just looking through and just seeing like if there's a way it could pull it off, you know, because beating Sakazuki with purple Luffy is totally possible. Not even close to an auto loss, in my opinion. I think, you know, if you take away their curve, whether it's going second or playing Magellan or both, I think you have a pretty good advantage. And if you're able to get your Rush Kaido out and just keep doing pressure, because again, I feel like another reason that Sakazuki has kind of a disadvantage with Enel is that Sakazuki does really bad against a lot of pressure. If you're just constantly adding pressure, I think you have a huge chance of beating it. But I mean, it'd be amazing to see, like, obviously I don't think Law is going to win it, getting like the top or anything, but just the fact that it's there makes me very happy. So, because I was a big red-green Law fan. So, but yeah, that's pretty much my predictions for Nats and just kind of my 2 cents that, you know, I think that Enel probably has the best bet of winning. That's pretty much it, guys. I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on what's going on this weekend and, you know, what happened with Europe. So obviously, if you're going to Nats, good luck to you. I hope you have a hell of a time out there and play really well. I'm unfortunately not going to be attending because I have stuff that I have to attend here, but I'm hoping to attend next year. But I'm super excited to watch it because I have a lot of people from my locals playing, and I think a couple of them have won some of the championships. So it'd be really cool to see them win, one of them win. So, But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you are going to Nats. What do you think is going to win Nationals? And again, just like and subscribe, support the channel. I have plenty of more content on the way. I have plenty of matchups coming. But yeah, guys, until next time, peace.